Morning. Just wanted to do a quick video on male pattern baldness. And you're probably, like me, you're on YouTube searching for like ways to prevent baldness, male pattern baldness, how to keep your hair transplants, SMP, that's scalp micropigmentation, finasteride, minoxidil, all of these things you've been searching for on YouTube. I know because I've been doing it for the last like 5 years, 10 years when it started. And it's such a journey, isn't it? Like losing your hair. And if you're watching this, you'll be able to relate to it. And a lot of people aren't, who've got thick heads of hair that we all look at on the street and we see them and we like thinking, they don't have to worry about this. You'll know what I'm talking about. It starts like, obviously, you're young, and as you're getting older and older, it gets thinner and thinner, and you need to do more and more things to counteract the baldness. So your hairstyles become a lot less, like the options you get become a lot less because it gets so thin that you have to start like combing it up into a point to make it look as thick as possible. And you can just you have to keep it short, and then sort of like, obviously it goes back more. And so that's the one point, is the level of like anxiousness of being out and around people in different elements like rain and wind, and you're having to like always be aware of like how the angle of your head is to stop it from like blowing off. And also like, so that's the one sort of level of energy that it just saps from you, is like you're out and about and you're having to think about that and not just get on with your life, get on with your work or your leisure or whatever you're doing. So shaving it off is a good point for that. And then also looking into like ways to like to prevent it or slow it down. I mean, I've done this as well. I've gone through the whole like looking for, going to Istanbul for a hair transplant and talking to all the different clinics and researching them all and getting obsessed with it all and looking into the process. And I was going to do it. I was going to book the flights and do it. And then I sort of come to the conclusion with, I don't want, if you have a hair transplant, one is never enough. Usually you need to have a second one as you continue to like recede. And if you don't take finasteride and minoxidil, which can be quite expensive, for the rest of your life and possibly have the side effects of low libido and depression, you're going to carry on losing it. And it'll look stupid because you'll have like a transplanted part at the front and then you'll be bald for the rest of your head. And then you'll end up shaving it off anyway. So what's the point in that? And I don't really want to take those drugs for the rest of my life and have it affect me in those those ways possibly. So what's the point? So there's another level of worry and anxiety about having to take these drugs and having to like maintain this transplanted hair, worrying about possible scars on the back and the sides. So ruled that out as well. Also, like the shape of your head, people are worried about, and the shape of their jaw and their facial structure and how they look with a shaved head. So I suggest shaving it off, and I've done this a couple of years ago. I shaved it off completely to see what I'd look like, completely bald. And I don't look too bad, to be honest, because my head isn't a bad shape. I've got really like pure white eyebrows, so that doesn't help. But jaw-wise and everything, it doesn't look too bad. But yeah, so I suggest shaving it off and seeing how you look. The other thing is like SMP, scalp micropigmentation, and that's the upkeep of like having to keep your head shaved every day because you've basically tattooed the micro dots of where the hairline was. And if it grows out now and your hairline's down here, you're going to have just like your scalp tattooed, and then the hair's grown out, so you have to keep shaving it. But that's not a bad option. I'm looking into that at the moment. I don't know how it'd work being so like blonde. I know when it's shaved down to like the nub, like all of our hair has like a pigment anyway, no matter what colour your hair is. So maybe that'll work. I'm looking into that, but that's like almost like, is that worth bothering with as well? Just shave it off. So where am I going with this? Basically, all of these ways of preventing it and stopping hair loss are taking your energy away from you from doing other stuff, and it's taken so much thought to to try and stop something that's inevitable. I mean, I know this is happening, and this is part of the trauma of losing your hair. You look at your dad, you look at your granddad, and they're both bald. They're like Norwood Sevens or whatever. And this is coming for me. I'm gonna be like that. I look like them, and this is happening to me. So it's like a bit of a torture over the years that it's coming for you. And this is the trouble where a lot of men go through this, and they're like, and this is the problem. You get stuck in this trying to retain it and trying to keep it and trying to make it look as thick as possible. And that's like, if we only had the energy to just as soon as we see it starting to really go, just shave it off and get to grips with that new look, we'd save ourselves so much trauma and so much anxiety over the years. But we don't. I mean, look at me now. I'm still trying to retain it. And this is another problem. From the front, you look at it and you think, oh, that doesn't look too bad. But then you go to the side and you think, because you never see yourself from the side unless you get a mirror, it's gone really far back and it's starting on the top of my head and it just looks unnatural now. Well, I mean, it looks like just receded, but from the front, you know what I mean, you don't really see it like that. And then look at me, I'm trying to even trying to put it into a position. This is the motion that I've got now of doing this, and I'm out in the wind or I get out of a car, I'm doing this to try and make it look as thick as possible. Whereas all of this is very unattractive to the opposite sex as well, because if you care this much about your hair, you just look like an insecure person. So you've got to be like Jason Statham, just shave it off and just be an hard nut. No, I don't know. I think I'm coming to the conclusion that women don't care as much about your hair. They care if you care about your hair. And if you're really worried about it, and if you're going through hair transplants and you're doing all of this sort of stuff, it's quite unattractive in a way. It's weird, isn't it? Because it's the opposite to what you would think. As in women would like a person with a thick head of hair. But I think if you care that much about it and you're trying every single thing and you're on drugs as well for the rest of your life to try and save it, I think they prefer someone that's just embracing it and just get rid of it, mate. Let's move on. So this is a bit of a rambling video, but it's just where I'm at the moment with my sort of hair loss journey. So I've got a session booked in for SMP in the next couple of weeks. So the guy's going to shave my head and then we're going to tattoo a hairline back on some way, but it's going to be a discreet sort of natural one. So it doesn't look so bad, but we'll see how that goes. Maybe this is a waste of time. Maybe I'll have to get it lasered off in a year and just be my dad and my granddad, is what I thought would be coming. It's just a shame that everybody has to go through this sort of mental torture over the years of losing it, and because it's not a choice, is it? It's being taken away from you. Your hair is being taken from you through DHT, through genetics, and it's coming to terms with that. But there we go. Yeah, I'll keep you updated.